This is Hannity. The Biden administration is unraveling. Now, if you were with me on the last, when I was filling in on the Joe Esposito show, just before we just kind of dovetailed into today's stream, I played Biden's, speech on his executive order about, anti-competitive practices in the economy and how they're going to push back against that and some other stuff, and like little stuff like, how long it takes you to get refunded if your bags get lost by the airlines and stuff, like little stuff that affects it, that stitches up the death of 1,000 cuts that's happening to consumers all over the place. Regulations is what we call them, and they exist for a reason. And this is Hannity's titled this, "The Biden administration is unraveling." I would say unraveling the Gordian knot of bullshit that Trump left behind, maybe, but sure.
Tonight, all is not well at the White House.
Yes. From your perspective, absolutely not. Joe Biden is president. That's bad enough for you. And apparently, it looks like all is well. Somebody's up. Somebody's burning the midnight oil. Or the 8 p.m. 9 Eastern oil. So this is before President Sippy Cup. Is he just getting his milk? Is that what we're seeing right now? How long before he says President Sippy Cup? What do you think? 5 sentences? What do you think?
Record levels. Businesses, they can't find employees.
Businesses can't find employees. It's an employees market out there. What could be worse? Hold on. What was the first one?
The White House. Inflation record levels.
Inflation record levels. We're going to have a discussion about supply and demand, aren't we? Aren't we?
They can't find employees.
Yes, there's what I would call wage inflation, maybe.
Lockdowns are now imminent, even support disaster. Violent crime is rising in almost every major city in this country.
No, it's actually going down. It was on the rise. It's been on the rise. There's been a lot of it, but it's actually on its way down. I mean, statistically. I mean, if you're looking at numbers, if you actually care, because the numbers turn out to be the lives of human beings. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were bullshitting?
Russia is hacking critical supply lines each and every month. China.
Well, no. There's nothing critical about the RNC. The RNC's. There's no supply chain. Well, maybe. Is there a supply chain of bullshit? Are you not getting emails from the RNC like you're supposed to? Fundraising emails?
Is openly now threatening the United States, our military, and our allies. Iran is back to enriching uranium at an alarming rate. And
no, they're not. They're saying they're going to, but they're actually still living up to the Iran deal, even though we got out of it.
Withdrawal from Afghanistan is a poorly planned debacle. Now we're leaving behind tons of arms and munitions for the Taliban. Now this is
we're leaving them behind for the Afghan forces.
Administration is unraveling far faster than we even expected.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would have at least taken 4 weeks.
And worst of all, no one knows who is in charge. As we told you earlier in the week, 57% now of Americans, they see what we...
No, 57% of right-wing nutcases that answer push polls think this.
Talking about, and few others have, and that is, and by the way, 58% of independents, even a third of Democrats see it, and so does America's enemies.
How was the question worded, Sean? Never mind. Polls are always believable. I don't need to know. That's a detail I do not need to know. It's a need-to-know basis. We don't need to know.
One thing that most agree on, it's definitely not Joe Biden running the show. And today, yet again, he struggled to get words out during his one and only publicly scheduled event.
Yeah, it's almost as if the act of being president is not a series of press gaggles. It's almost as if there's lots of work to be done. Good Lord, man. Okay, and hold
supporters, I guess.
Let's be honest. It is terrible when a president can't say things, normal stuff.
Michigan gave us Motang.
In those areas.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
And anybody who wants can watch. Hold on, I watch. We'll put it later. This video of me laughing at. Well, let's. Hell, we were all here yesterday. Why the heck not? Let me grab this real quick. New window. Let's go to YouTube. Let's go to my channel. Let's go to the most popular video on my channel right now, which is, of course, us all having a good laugh at Trump having a... By the way, when Biden introduces an EO like this, and it's a big policy change, he actually has to address it. He actually has to go through the process of, let's see, I'm going to pause this, and then we'll open this, see, this guy. No, hold on, I'll go to this link in here. We'll close this window. We'll grab this guy. You got making shorter clips, and thanks very much for this. Let's cut to Sean Hannity, what he's talking about.
From the very beginning of our nation, freedom of speech has always been
First,
understood as a bedrock of our liberty and our strength.
our liberty. Yes, thanks. And by the way, Sean Hannity, this is me layering me talking about me. You're welcome. Liberty. Hold on, we have to get to this part.
Express the truth that is our heart. Really, that's really a big chunk of our heart.
Sorry, it still gets me. I'm sorry. By the way, at no point did Biden say a chunk of our heart.
Tough schedule he has. Take a look.
We went for two reasons. One, to...
And again, this is a wording thing. Watch this. This is him trying to find the best wording for this. It's so obvious, but... Yeah.
bring Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell.
Right. So that's the phrase he was not sure he should say, and he went, screw it. I'm going to say it anyways. That's clearly what we just saw. He didn't... He's smiling. It's not like, oh God, who was I talking to again? But that's how Hannity will make it look, because Trump just gave the chunk of heart speech.
As I said at the time. The second reason was to eliminate al-Qaeda's capacity to deal with more attacks in the United States from that territory. We accomplished both of those objectives, period.
Just keep counting. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000.
Again, asshole who reads teleprompter for a living is questioning that the president, who's actually going, should I say this? Yeah, screw it. To the gates of hell.
You get to 10 1,000, Joe will speak. And by the way, Joe, you opposed the raid to get bin Laden. As I said...
No, he didn't. He did not oppose the raid to get bin Laden. He wanted to wait 2 more days, because it may have been as much as a week, depending on the information they had, to make sure he was there, because he didn't want to put soldiers in harm's way if they weren't 100% sure that he was there. And they were like, we're waiting on more intel, and he was like, I'll give you the alternate view. Biden and Obama were talking. They were the last ones in the room. Both of them tell the story the exact same way. He was like, you want to hear an alternate view on this? You could wait. And the reason you should wait is because we don't want to endanger our soldiers. And by the way, one of those helicopters went down. Those soldiers were in danger. This was a wet works. This was a physical act. This wasn't a drone strike on a house with other people. Like, this was a full-on soldiers in harm's way. So he was like, yeah, you should wait. You could wait. You could wait a couple of days, and we'll make sure. But it's up to you, Mr. President. Because that's how you give good counsel to a friend of yours and somebody in a very serious situation.
Earlier this week, I honestly can no longer laugh. I can't joke about Biden's cognitive struggles.
That's a shame, Sean, because normally you have such a good sense of humor. You don't seem like a miserable fuck at all. I can't even joke. Yeah, so you're going to stop saying sippy cup because it didn't test well, and because most of your audience is Joe Biden's age, you asshole. Hi, Joy. Thank you for... Oh, she got a membership. Yay.
Everyone can see he is
No, they can't.
in really bad shape. Our allies see it. Our enemies see it. The majority
Well, that's who you're cheering for, anyways.
now of the American people, they're seeing it. And it's downright dangerous. Now things are so bad, Joe needs the help of no cards, even after
He's playing the same fucking clip from yesterday.
briefings with his staff less than an hour prior. Now, Joe's not calling the show.
They had a written statement. He was referring to their statement to see if it crisscrossed with anything he was going to say. Anybody watching that could tell.
He's not making decisions. Instead, it appears that he's just trying to barely get through that one scheduled event a day. It is pathetic. And here's the next obvious question.
Yes, what will Sean Hannity talk about once all these policies that are actually showing positive change in the country become the law of the land, and they recognize that Sean Hannity has been giving Trump a rusty trombone for 5 years based on his own affinity for authoritarianism and fascism. Is that what you were going to say, Sean?
Who is making the decisions?
I was almost right. I was almost right. I mean, we know who's making the decisions on your show, Sean. Your staff. They won't even let you tweet. I don't even know how they can legally call this the show Hannity. Unless is there another family member named Hannity that actually runs the show for you, that tweets on your behalf? Anybody? Is it, maybe Hannity is a trademarked LLC of other individuals at Fox News that tell you what you can and cannot say. Who vetoes your guests, Sean Hannity? I'll come on your show. I mean, you're used to having somebody dunk their nuts on your forehead. If Trump can do it, I can certainly do it. I mean, mine don't hang down as far. It's an age thing, I think.
Knew what when about Joe's condition. For reference,
he doesn't have a condition. Again, straw man.
Let's take a look at Joe Biden. This is from 2012. You'll notice two things in this upcoming clip. One, Joe Biden brags about being against the bin Laden raid that took out the world's worst terrorist. And
the world's worst terrorist. Sorry, Donald. You just got stepped on by your own dude. Qasem Soleimani, get out of here with the al-Baghdadi. With your third tier, your C-list terrorists. Even your buddy Sean Hannity, Hannity?
Joe Biden was, well, let's put it charitably, in a completely different cognitive state in 2012 than he is today.
He also wasn't the leader of the free world. He was the vice president.
Decide.
He said, I have to make this decision. What is your opinion? He started the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of State, and he ended with me. Every single person in that room hedged their bet, except Leon Panetta. Leon said, go. Everyone else said, 49, 51, got to me and he said, Joe, what do you think? And I said, I didn't know we had so many economists around the table. I said, we owe the man a direct answer. Mr. President, my suggestion is don't go.
Why'd you cut there? Sean, why did you cut there? Now I gotta go look it up. Now I gotta find that actual clip, the whole thing by itself. Good Lord. All right, here we go. Then go to find a page at YouTube. Hang on, Sean. I'll be with you in just a moment or whatever. Just, if you could, just sit there looking kind of annoyed like a fire plug with a toupee. Good job. You're better at that than I thought you would be. That's amazing. Biden against bin Laden raid speech, whatever. Okay. Let's see if we can find it. Biden on the bin Laden, Joe Biden really thought it clarifies role advice to bin Laden raid. Let's see. That's fine. I'd like to find the exact one. Let's see. And which one was this? what's the background? He has two. Okay, so two flights. This is 2012. Not finding it, 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 not. Okay, let's just take. Here's Biden. This is from 60 Minutes. This is Biden clarifying his
new
role.
Insights this morning into the raid that led to the death of Osama bin Laden. President Obama and his national security team watched the raid as it happens.
Here you go. This is her talking to.
I want to set the record straight on something.
Yep.
About the raid to get Osama bin Laden, because there's been some recent confusion about that, about whether you told the president to conduct the raid or not to conduct the raid. Which is it?
Everything I said was completely accurate. I just never until last Tuesday night told the whole story. We got down to the final decision, and the president asked everyone's opinion. And everyone in the room said, well, it's a close call, Mr. President, probably, and it went back and forth. Two people for certain said, absolutely do something. One, the CIA director said, go. Two, the Secretary of Defense said, don't go. I was the last guy in the room. In order to give the president the leeway he needed, I said, Mr. President, there's one more thing we can do, what we had discussed about, another pass to see whether it was bin Laden. I said, you should do that, and there'd be still time to have the raid, but that's what I would do. Immediately, we got up, as we always do, and I walked out with the president. We walked up to the Oval. I said, Mr. President, follow your instincts. Mine are you should do it, but follow your instincts. If I
So
had
the
said,
reporting that you were opposed to the raid is incorrect.
what the reporting was accurate when I said I didn't say go, and I didn't. What I said was, Mr. President, try one more thing. And the reason for that was, imagine if I had said, Mr. President, go, and he didn't go. And then bin Laden did something else bad. They would have said, well, everybody said, even his vice president said to go. And he said no. Barack Obama made that decision knowing if it was wrong, his career was over. I wanted the public to know this is a man with a backbone of steel. That's why I said it. And had I said, but by the way, when I went up privately, I told him to go, it would have made it look like I was self-aggrandizing. It's long since passed. It was in the context of what the role of a vice president is, and that's exactly what happened.
So,
Yeah, pretty normal, deliberative process about sending soldiers in to a situation where they could die and they are sent to kill someone.
my suggestion is don't go. That Joe Biden, by the way, is long gone. Today's weak, frail, cognitively struggling Biden is getting steamrolled by America's enemies. This week alone, we showed you China's hostile rhetoric and
Yeah, for the world, though.
threats against American and Japanese military bases. China
Everyone in the world, including the Russians.
now openly talking about reunification with Taiwan.
Yeah, it's Sippy Sean Hannity. So is that what we call him from now on?
Warning of dire military consequences if America dares to help our ally. Now, we covered many in the latest cyber attacks from Russia. We covered Iran's new uranium enrichment program. We showed you how Russia and China, they have now aligned themselves.
You're just using the same Fiverr graphics from yesterday? Sean, god damn, dude. I know you're recycling talking points, and this is basically like his opening monologue has now just become like cliff notes of his other bullshit.
And teamed up to supply
Thank
the
you, Daryl.
Iranians so they can fight their proxy wars all over the world, the #1 state sponsor of terror. Clearly, none of these hostile actors fear or respect Joe Biden. Neither does the Taliban.
Well, no. I mean, obviously they respect Joe Biden because they're expecting to go back into the Iran deal and participate in it with the rest of the world.
As America withdraws now forces from Afghanistan, we have Taliban extremists. They are moving in quickly. And now we see that they're seizing U.S. weapons and supplies in the process. And then the question is, why on earth would we ever leave munitions, weaponry behind like this, knowing the Taliban would get a hold of it? That is simply madness. They know there'll be no consequences for their.
You mean the stuff that isn't ours? That's actually the Taliban soldiers. I mean the Afghan soldiers' equipment that's there that we gave them, that they're supposed to guard because it's theirs. And if we strafe bomb it on our way out the door, our allies can't use it, and some of them might fall in certain regions, but everybody else gets to keep their shit. Like, this is so goofy.
Under this administration. It's so bad that today Biden was even asked if he trusts the Taliban. Take a look.
Yeah, what'd he say, dumb shit?
Mr. President, do you trust the Taliban, sir?
Is that a serious question?
It's absolutely a serious question. Do you trust the Taliban?
No, I do not.
Over the country to the Taliban.
No, I do not trust the Taliban.
So why are you handing the country over?
Is the U.S. responsible for the deaths of Afghans?
What? Mr. President, will you amplify that question, please? Will you amplify your answer, please?
Will you amplify your answer, please?
It's a silly question. Do I trust the Taliban? No.
Then why?
But wait a minute, Sean. Sean, why don't you finish the thought, man? What are you scared of? Sean Hannity, you coward. What are you afraid of? Look, on my show, which I've been doing for the better part of a year now, when I pick a clip or a segment of stuff, I play the whole goddamn thing. And if at any point the person that I'm joking about or riffing on or fact-checking reverses what they say, I go, oh, okay, well, they moved the goalpost, or they really do believe that, or they said something off and they came back to it. This is literally just shaving off to create false context. That is literally what he's doing. And it is the weakest form of digital argument. Sean, you're a coward. And you do not trust your viewers because you are afraid if they see one more sentence after what he says on those cuts, they will go, oh, that's not a big deal. I'm fine.
Did you leave the weaponry behind? Believe it or not.
CPAC is on right now? Oh, right, the Texas CPAC, the one where Madison Cawthorn. We'll jump to that. I'll grab Hannity at that. Hold on, let me see if I can find a, let's see, CPAC live. Oh, God. Hold on, I think I got it, so yeah. Uh-oh.
Let's say words that I don't even want to use abbreviations.
Hold on. Oh, and Kimberly introduces him. So they're a tag team. Yikes. Oh, God, this is going to be good. Okay, right after we're finished with Hannity, we'll go to that.
The press secretary, Jen Psaki, the messaging today on Afghanistan, that was even worse than him. And she said there would be no celebration for the troops coming home because the war had not been won militarily. Okay, take a look.
In terms of plans for the end for our men and women coming back, I don't have anything to preview, but we're not going to have a mission accomplished moment in this regard. It's a 20-year war that has not been won militarily.
Yeah, it's a strategic war. We didn't nuke someplace and split, dumb shit. That's what she's saying.
War was lost, Jen. There's only one reason, and it's a political one. Blame Joe.
Oh, okay. To all the Afghan vets, according to Sean Hannity, the fact that we're pulling out on schedule, doing something, by the way, that Trump said he was going to do last year, but Biden's actually doing it this year. And in the process, we're evacuating our allies in the region, the people who helped us out, to South Asian countries and to Guam during the time they can be vetted and brought to the United States. And the fact that we're done with that mission and that we accomplished the two goals. We decimated al-Qaeda in the region to stop them from being able to carry out terrorist acts in the United States, which was the secondary goal. And the primary one was getting Osama bin Laden. Both of those goals have been carried out, had to do with the military actions. The rest of it has been policing, and it's not our job and not what we should be losing American lives over. So that's why we're getting out. What the service that Afghan veterans, Afghanistan veterans carried out is valuable, important, and we love and support you. And by we, I mean me and everybody who watches my show, not Sean Hannity, who thinks you're a fucking loser.
And company. Militarily, the brave men, the brave women that fought in Afghanistan and decimated al-Qaeda and heroically fought to maintain order in a failed state for 2 decades. Jen Psaki can't be bothered.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to back up and try saying her last name again. I'm just worried about your cognitive ability. You can't say Psaki. when I know you've jammed down shots of Psaki over the years, you know, with Tucker Carlson and whoever's pretending to be his wife this week.
To take the time to give them the appropriate credit, tour after tour after tour that these men serve.
Yeah, that doesn't mean we're not going to celebrate them. There's just not going to be a mission accomplished moment. We're not having a ticker tape parade for the end of the Afghanistan war.
These women served. I wonder, you know, how...
Women? What? Look, Sean, you're about to upset a big portion of your audience, okay?
How does this make the families of soldiers that died in Afghanistan feel tonight?
Well, I mean, I would go by what the president actually said, which is they accomplished their goals that they were there to do, and they did great things shoring up the Afghanistan military, and that they can now handle the Taliban, and it's on them.
I need to circle back and do something called an apology, at the very least.
No, apology shows weakness. I mean, why would you apologize? Never apologize for anything, okay? Never, ever apologize. It's exactly what your enemies would want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I shouldn't have even done that. That was wrong of me to say. I apologize.
The administration has now botched, totally, completely botched.
America leaves Afghanistan on the brink of collapse. By Kabul and Mazar-e-Sharif. So, yeah. Is there ever a time when we would have left Afghanistan that this would not have been a headline from someone?
The withdrawal from Afghanistan, just like they're botching America's economic and political response to COVID and under...
Yeah, I mean, you know how much inflation is so bad that these Fiverr graphics cost $6.50. That's terrible. I don't even know how Hannity can afford to be on the air anymore, considering, you know, the fees that he gets charged as client number 3.
Biden, the U.S. is now printing money faster than at any point in history.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Is the Fed printing money? Because there's actually a liquidity issue right now. Let's see. Oh, I got to find one that's... Because right now, hold on, I watched yesterday a video on the fact that there is about to be a liquidity crisis because of the tightening up the rules on money in this regard. So let me see this. Yeah, like here, like I won't show you this whole.
What's up, everybody? My name is Joe Brown, and
what's up, Joe Brown? All right. One of the like internet dudes who talks about, so I watch a bunch of these guys and I don't necessarily agree with either side of what they're arguing, just to see what the argument basically is in terms of economic policy. And this was literally called, the Fed just lit the fuse for a liquidity crisis. You know what liquidity is? It's when you have cash on hand. So when you have assets, you have more cash flowing around than you do assets. The other thing, the opposite is about to be true, because they're buying back treasuries and getting rid of them, and that's how you take money out of the system. But that's okay. You don't understand that this is a supply issue because of COVID still, and things are getting back online, and we're shifting away from a China-centric production base to other countries, which takes time to tool up, and that actually costs you over time. But it's don't worry. Remember, this is Carter 2.0.
As a result, that's called inflation. It's running through the roof. That's called.
Let's see. Let's see. Inflation. The bond market is telling us more about growth. Okay. Beg your pardon. Bond market is telling us to worry about growth, not inflation. Okay. How about, let's see, Banxico sounds dovish note on inflation. Yeah. Well, this is Vox. Now, why are prices going up? Used cars are more expensive because they are. This is the inflation thing. With the computers and eggs, if you're doing your own cooking show, it's become more expensive. You're not imagining many items are more expensive than they used to be. Some by littles, others by a lot. The United States isn't in runaway inflation territory right now, but we're definitely seeing some unusually pricey consumer goods. If you haven't noticed it in your day-to-day life, you've at least seen the headlines from flights to lumber to chicken wings. Lumber's back down, by the way. Let's see. But many economists and policymakers, including the chair of the Federal Reserve, think it's likely transitory, and the economy might just be running a little hot right now. They say it will likely cool down as some of the post-pandemic bottlenecks and imbalances work themselves out. It looks like it's already starting to happen in lumber. It's already happened. And it's also worth noting that last year we saw deflation in some areas of the economy, meaning prices went down, and so it makes sense that they would rebound. The prices are not inflating to yet a $1.50 loaf of bread. COVID happens, you've got a $1.20 loaf of bread, which is an enormous drop, and then you go back to a $1.50 loaf of bread or a $1.55 because of the money lost in that time. People are gouging a little bit to make that out, and then but I'm sorry, Sean, I forgot. You were telling us how we're in the Carter administration. By the way, Sean Hannity thinks that if you are in a 6-foot hole and you climb out of a 6-foot hole, you are now 12 feet tall. Just that's Hannity math. Just in case you were wondering about Hannity.
Rising prices, massive shortages,
massive shortages. Oh, you mean the food shortages last year where they had well, that wasn't a food shortage necessarily because we obviously had enough to sell the largest shipment of beef, corn, soybeans, and pork to China in our history. So was that, maybe it's the PPE? Were we short on PPE? We were in the beginning because Trump sent, tons of it to China.
Financial burden on every single American. Now, thanks to Joe's new Green Deal, the cost of a gallon of...
It's A, it's Green New Deal. B, it's not Joe's. And it has nothing to do with what you're seeing because none of it is actually implemented.
Gasoline is now at $3 and above in most places, even $5 and higher in places like California, nearly double what it was under Donald Trump. Great.
Yeah, when no one was driving.
Joe.
Yeah, it's almost as if oil companies can't be trusted to maintain prices.
Cost to heat and cool your home, that's also going through the roof. The cost for goods and services, that's costing more.
Stop. All right. Look, do you start with eggs and lumber and heating oil? That's one thing. What? Patio furniture? Fucking hell, patio furniture. But I just did that whole new project because we were all at home and everybody fixed their patios. And now what? You're just going to go sit out on the well, you can't sit on the tile because the heat from global warming is will cook your ass. Damn it. This is it, Sean. Patio furniture? Patio furniture. God damn.
That is being passed on to you as well. Now,
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, if your diet consists completely of patio furniture, you're gonna die.
There's a nationwide shortage of even patio furniture.
And by the way, who is my favorite Irish singer, by the way? Patio. If you haven't heard Patio Furniture's new album,
added to the list of shortages under Biden. That would be, beef shortages, chicken.
Whoa! Why do we have a beef shortage, Sean?
Wings, lumber, gas, and
chicken wings. Why are chickens being born with fewer wings under the Biden administration? There's plenty of chicken legs. You got all the chicken tits you can eat, but I refuse to say chicken breasts. It sounds creepy, so I say chicken tits instead. Chicken wings. Fucking chicken wings.
Forget the historic shortage of workers. And thanks to the administration.
Yeah. You know why we have a shortage of workers, Sean? We're having to eat them instead of our chicken wings. Chicken wings is people.
Generous, never-ending shutdowns that are draconian and their
generous, never-ending shutdowns that are draconian. Everything's open, you dipshit.
Employers cannot find workers anywhere. There are right now 9.2 million job openings in the United States. Would be an all-time high. The restaurant industry, as if they weren't hurt enough during the draconian shutdowns, they're probably suffering the most. According to one report, a third of the industry's workers, they're refusing to return to work. Large cities are all...
Oh, my God. I know, I have an idea how you could get some of them to return. I'm thinking of a number between $7.25 and $15. Yeah.
Having a hard time hiring police. Oh, shocker. After
yeah, the defund DEMS. Wow. You do realize that Republicans voted against using COVID funding to help local police hire more people.
National Democrats have spent more than a year vilifying the police and stripped their budgets, defunding.
Strip their budget? How did they strip their budgets? Like Minneapolis, 2 other areas have done it. How did they strip? Would they strip their budgets? Or did they use part of the budget that would go to cops to go to mental health services in some cases so the cops don't even have to deal with that stuff? And yet they're still getting money from the Democrats to hire more police officers. So in the end, you're not only going to have the same number of cops you had originally or more, you're also going to have mental health services for people who are having mental health breakdowns so you don't have to show up and deal with them with a gun. Sounds like a plan that's working.
Reimagining law enforcement. Many police departments are operating now reduced capacity, and those that are working, they're kind of afraid to do their job because they know they won't get support from their leaders, their elected officials.
Yeah, wait, who just won the Democratic primary in New York? Who was that? Was it the socialism? Defund the police people? Is that who?
Can you believe it? Oh, what a shock. As a result, violent crime is now spiking in all of these cities.
Yeah, it spiked last year, too. And whose fault was that?
So bad that some Democrats are trying to protect.
By the way, can I tell you, remind you, the title of this video is The Biden Administration is Unraveling.
It's Republican.
Unraveling.
That are responsible for the defund the police movement. Others are just doubling down on their defund dreams. Take a look.
The answer to that question is we must eliminate funding for CPB, ICE, and their parent organization, DHS. Time after time, we have seen it.
Yeah, that's Rashida Tlaib, and is in no way emblematic of the policy coming out of the Congress or the White House right now. I get that you might think there's an argument to be had here, but if you're not going to bring out Paul Gosar and bring up the fact that he's actually touring with a white supremacist right now, Nick Fuentes, that kind of eats your argument, Sean.
As advocates on the ground, as human services agency on the ground, to continue to see over and over again that these agencies are inept.
Defund the Department of Homeland Security. I ask all of America tonight, have you forgotten? Have you forgotten 9/11?
Yeah. 9/11. What happens on 9/11? What was 9? I forgot. Do you guys remember what happens on? I know this year is the 9/11 is the deadline to bring all the troops home from Afghanistan, which you're against. And obviously it's going to happen before then. But gosh, what? I think we've all forgotten what happened on. I remember. 9/11's where that a bunch of Venezuelan Marxists flew an airplane made entirely out of human trafficked women and children into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and crashed them into Hank Kunneman's church.
Forgotten radical Islamic terrorists, what they did that day? According to the radical socialist Democrats, we just stop enforcing laws at the southern border, this crisis will magically end. Can they really be that dumb and that radical? And
Well, she might be, but what the fuck does that have to do with the Biden administration is unraveling? Okay, I don't want to help you out, Sean. I don't think I can. I think you're beyond help. But I do want to bring up the fact that if you're going to use these kind of outlier arguments as your basis for the premise that you're presenting, that the Biden administration and Democrats as a whole are going off the deep end, unraveling, losing the script, doing something that's bad for the country, you have to do this. You have to take what she said and then find video or policy where they parrot or offer something equal to it. If you can't do those things, then shut the fuck up.
Many illegal immigrants, guess what? They're testing positive at a very high rate for COVID. So we have open borders, overcrowded cages that Biden and Harris have built in the middle of a pandemic, and then they're giving them free transportation to states all across the country.
Hold on.
And by the way,
the middle of a pandemic. I mean, I understand the Delta variant is, oh, well, I see, right. For red America, it is the middle. I beg your pardon. That's true. For the rest of us and the normal people, we're almost at the end of it. But I mean, obviously, for Republicans, it's kind of just hitting the top of the bell curve.
Crisis at the border is yet another unresolved disaster, and that's only getting worse. Without a doubt, this administration is an absolute, well, we'll honor the great Adam Schiff. It's a Schiff show. Whoever's in charge at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, whoever you are, you're doing a pretty terrible job. And tonight, the American people are suffering on all levels tonight.
Yeah, I mean, people are sitting around. It's like Left Behind. They're just sitting around a bonfire with Hannity on a TV show. On a TV set. They managed to work with, well, it's cable. They couldn't use rabbit ears. But, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's an apocalyptic afterthought.
Result. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to...
Hey.